Wildfire season is quickly approaching, and much of the West is crippled by drought. There's growing concern this morning about our nation's firefighting resources. Colorado Senator Mark Udall is calling on the Pentagon to use military planes as air tankers. John Blackstone shows us why that lawmaker is not the only one sounding the alarm about America's depleted aerial fleet.
It's the sight that gives hope to anyone fighting a wildfire and everyone threatened by one.
Ready, drop.
The U.S. Forest Service calls them large air tankers, planes capable of dropping up to 10,000 gallons of fire retardant in front of fast-moving blazes. If deployed early, they can stop a wildfire before it incinerates homes and lives. But these days, that's a big if. Many of the planes firefighters depend on date from World War II or soon after. How old is this airplane that you fly?
This particular one, I believe, was built in '54.
Paul Yedinak is a pilot with Neptune Aviation in Missoula, Montana, one of the companies that flies tankers under contract with the federal government. This Lockheed P-2 was built to hunt for Soviet subs during the Cold War.
These are all original type gauges.
What about the danger in flying a 50, 60-year-old aircraft?
I don't feel intimidated at all by the age of the airplane.
But not everyone in the firefighting community agrees. Critics worry not only are the planes too old, there's also too few of them.
We're kind of looking like a third world country in our capabilities with large air tankers.
Hart Drobish has been flying tactical planes to coordinate tanker drops for almost 30 years. He watched as the number of available tankers dropped from more than 40 in 2002 to just 10 last summer. Their average age, over 50 years old.
We have a serious threat here in this country with wildland fire every year. We know that. And it's a homeland security problem if there ever was one. And we don't have the resources to begin to take care of it.
The numbers dropped in 2004 when the Forest Service grounded most of its fleet for safety inspections following a series of deadly crashes, including this tragedy in California that killed 3 crew members. It just crashed! That plane was 45 years old and suffered from fatigue cracking in its wing and inadequate maintenance.
We've learned from our lessons in the past.
Tom Harbour oversees the Forest Service wildland firefighting efforts. He insists today's remaining tankers are operating under stricter scrutiny and more efficient management.
We feel that between 18 to 28 air tankers are the numbers that we really need. Now, we're not there yet. In the meantime, we're going to use what we have, the older air tankers.
At Neptune Aviation, pilots say they feel safe flying those old planes, but keeping them safe is a big job for the company's mechanics.
To maintain the P-2s is challenging, to say the least.
Hard to buy parts for this off the shelf now.
Virtually impossible. We either have to have the part on hand because there's nowhere else to buy it, or we make it.
You make it?
We make it in our machine shop.
All the old stuff is all in here.
Machinists rely on Lockheed's original drawings from the 1940s, building new parts to keep old planes in the air.
Half the time you gotta recreate the parts.
Yep.
Find a way to build it.
Reverse engineer it.
In some ways, this is a museum piece.
In all ways it is.
The Forest Service out that the 10-tanker fleet it is assembling for this summer will contain 2 newer, more powerful aircraft, and it could add up to 7 more by the end of the year. The agency hopes to avoid a repeat of 2012, when half the time fire crews requested a large air tanker, they simply were not available.
I feel impotent would be the word. Not able to do the job that we should be doing.
For CBS This Morning, John Blackstone, Missoula, Montana.